Mick here. So as part of the retro series, I'm going to cover my top 5 GameCube games. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get the ball rolling. So we start off first with Beautiful Joe. This was made by the company you now know as Platinum Games and was published by Capcom, and it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. This game has a lovely art style. It's an incredibly fun game, but it's also an incredibly challenging game, so be ready for that. It's got some light RPG elements that complement the combat. It gives a good feeling progression because of that. Anyway, yeah, that's my number 5. So number 4 then, we're on to Metroid Prime, of course. Nintendo gave Retro Studios responsibility of transcribing this from the Super NES and then bringing it to a 3D space. I think a lot of fans were originally worried about the idea of bringing it from 2D to 3D. As I said, Retro Studios did a fantastic job recreating that sense of dread and atmosphere and exploration. They also made it more action-packed, which is great. So yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3 then might be a bit of a controversial one because there's a lot of RE titles in the system, but for me, Nemesis was the game I went back to the most on the GameCube. I'm a huge RE fan. Yeah, I know Resident Evil 4 first launched on the GameCube and was one of the best games probably of all time, arguably. Personally, I just prefer the RE games when they're fixed angle. They got the puzzles, they got the replay value. So yeah, I mean, this again was one of the best iterations of the first 3 RE games. It had so many enhancements and improvements. They're subtle, but there were subtle improvements to RE2 that made this game a much better game in my opinion. Next up is a slight controversial one, I'd say, because this game got slaughtered on launch. I think people complain about the short length, but like, I mean, my first playthrough was like 8 hours. Look, I don't mind the time because Nintendo's art style is just fantastic. The first party titles are so good, and this was kind of a move away from the Mario type of games that we were seeing so many times before, so it was great to see something new. A couple of honourable mentions here that didn't make my top 5. Rogue Leader, of course. I think this was a launch title as well. Arcade flying, really fun. Another one here that I've had tons of fun with in co-op is Lord of the Rings Return of the King. I played that so many times, couch co-op, really cool. Little hidden gem here, Def Jam. Yeah, I mean, I played through this twice before. Brilliant little campaign. It's a wrestling game, but yeah, very fun. And Killer 7, one of the most underrated games I'd say on the GameCube in my opinion. So drum roll to number 1. There we go. Metal Gear Solid, the Twin Snakes. I don't think I'll ever go back play the original Metal Gear Solid after playing Twin Snakes. This was produced by Kojima too, so it could be considered one of the very first remasters of a game. And if we were ever to bring something back to a system like the Xbox One or the PS4, etc., this is the game that deserves a HD remake. Not even a remake. I think if they could just simply upscale it to 1080p or 4K. It already looks beautiful in 480p. It's taken all the gameplay improvements of Metal Gear Solid 2 and incorporated them into the first game. Graphically as well. It just looks stunning. So for me, this is easily the best game on the system, and this is an exclusive for the system also. You can't get this anywhere else other than the GameCube. So that's it from me from another episode of my retro series. And again, if you like this, please like and subscribe because I put a lot of efforts into these videos. And if you have any thoughts on my choices, you disagree, absolutely please battle it out in the comments. So Mick signing off, Sláinte, and thanks for watching.
Snake, answer me!